Hey Headfires and AUDIOTIERS tour members. This is Barra kicking off another tour. This time it's iFi. This is the first in a series. We are starting off with their signature line. And as you can see, we are now working with the micro iDSD. Had a chance to listen to it for a little while and play with it, and I can tell you it's outstanding. Obviously, I'm focusing in on products that I think are outstanding to do our tours, so that doesn't say a whole lot. So let me get into a little bit more details and tell you what I found. I have worked with it with my Fur M5. My Thuman, and I've played with the Elysium, and I can tell you that all three sound outstanding on it. A little bit of backdrop is the best of the best for me is my Burson. I've got the C3 reference series, and in a comparison of these two, just as the name would imply, the Burson reference series is a little bit more reference. It's got a bit more power, and it is outstanding, and not one that's going to be easily beat, especially in a handheld model. The iFi, from my experience, has a little bit more of a fun tuning. You're going to hear a lot more of the bass response. It's going to have a bit more of the reverb and the textures on the inside, as it's a little bit thicker in sound, and probably by design. It is extremely fun to listen to. So we are starting off the iFi series with the signature series. We have a Neo that's going to be coming up here soon. And that is going to be a step up from the signature series. So I am curious, given the performance here, how they're going to step up with that Neo. So we'll see how close it gets to the Burson. When pairing headphones, I find that my Sony player here is good enough with a good number of headphones. BAs don't take a whole lot to drive them, but now we are dealing with a whole lot more of these hybrids that I am enjoying immensely. But the hybrids don't sound as good as they can with a bass source, such as my very nice sounding Sony player. When you add the iFi to it, all of a sudden, I find that the dynamic drivers come out to play. They hit harder, they go deeper, and they are more resolute. I find that there is a lot of textures in those bass notes if you have a source that will drive them hard enough and keep them from getting woolly. I find that the Sony is a bit of a warm signature, and it hides a little bit of that woolliness that I can hear when I listen to other sources such as my iPhone. Now, the other source I have is my my Calyx M, which has a little bit better of an amplification on it, and I find that to be tighter, but it isn't driving the bass is nearly as deep as what I'm getting from the iFi. So the iFi is not a set source either. When you look at the sides, you'll see there is a lot of tuning that is involved here. So these are the default settings that it came with. I played with all the different settings, and I found the default to be pretty much where I want it to be. So even though it was fun to play with, I probably would stick with all the default settings. But for those that don't like it as is, you have a lot of room to play. In addition, we've got some additional settings here. those that want a enhanced bass can take it a step higher. The bass boost, I found it to be fun, but I found the bass to be more than sufficient to begin with in its default tuning, so I leave it off. I'm also finding that the 3D is good, but it takes it a step further away from that reference sound signature, and I think it's fun enough already that it's not needed. But depending on the headphones you're pairing with and other considerations, it might be worth changing. Another thing of note is we have a 6.5 millimeter output, so it's meant for some bigger headphones. I haven't used the headphones as much because I'm more of an in-ear guy, but I did try my HD 800s, and they sounded really good. Now I'd have to say they sound better in my Burson, but they are good enough to make it fun going outdoors. Now I also have a Hugo 2, and while the Hugo 2 sounds better with the HD 800s, not by a whole lot. I'd have to say that overall, my over ears are going to stay at my desk, and I'm gonna use my in ears. And of all the different in ears that I tried with it, I'd have to say the ones that profited the most are the Thumans. The Thumans are the best sounding in-ears that I've ever heard, but they're also the hardest to drive. They don't sound very good out of my my DAPs, but they sound outstanding out of my my Burson, and they sound outstanding out of the iFi. The other thing of note with the iFi is they've standardized on the 4.4 millimeter input. So same input as we've got in the Sony. And you can see I've standardized as well. That's the input that I've got on my my Furs. It's what I've got on my Vision ears, and it's also what I've got in my MMRs. So it makes it very convenient for me. I'm very happy that they've standardized there. So boxing, what you see is what you get. It is a retail boxing that we're shipping with. There are a lot of cables and things in this box, in those two little ones, but truthfully, it didn't give me a whole lot of options to get me the rest of the way to hooking things up. So I've been limited in what I've been able to try it with. For example, I've yet to come up with a way to hook up my Sony. I'm sure there is a way to do it, and I ordered a part that I think will get me there, but out of the box, I don't have what's needed. My iPhone, I have this dongle that you see on the end of the iFi wire. The iFi wire is the one in blue, and it is what was needed to get the iPhone to work. So that is one of the sources that I use, but for the most part, this is simply a USB connector, and I hooked it into the computer. Now, interesting part is I found my USB connection directly into the computer to be far, far superior to my connection through my iPhone. So as a digital source, that shouldn't be the case, but it is in terms of what I found. So where am I going to use it? Yeah, I would definitely take the iPhone as a source to take it out of the room. Is the Sony going to be better? I'm yet to find out. But in reality, especially with the Thumans, it was truly apparent that the computer USB hookup was far superior to the iPhone. Now, the Fur M5 is my if I can only have one in-ears, because it sounds fantastic with everything. And what you get is is something that scales all the way down to an iPhone. Sounds great with that, and it scales up to everything you can draw in. The better the source, the bigger it gets, and it is just tremendous sounding. What I got out of the Elysiums is a much more present bass. Everybody complains that the bass is behind the mids, and they're used to more bassy sound output. But this brings the bass up front and center, especially with the custom version like I have. The Universal, I had trouble getting the bass response, so this probably doubles or triples the bass response, and the iFi brings it up considerably more. And as pointed out, we have the bass boost switch, which we can add even more of a bass boost if desired to bring out that bass from behind the mids. I personally like the Elysium for its mid focus and what I listen to when I'm listening to voice type productions. But I can see the desire to bring the bass forward, and this is a solution that offers that. And this isn't just the basic bass boost that you get from some of the cheaper amplifiers. It is truly a bigger, more resolute bass versus just bigger and woolier like you would get with other amps. So, enough said. I would warn everybody to be prepared with their source. The blue wire that we see here goes into a USB plug-in here. That goes into that, and you have this at the end. So whatever it is that's your source, if you can connect it to a USB to put it into the iFi, you're good to go. Outside of that, I am sure there's a lot of you that are a lot more experienced with external amps and DAC amps that would have some advice for me on how to set it up correctly. But in terms of simplicity, it didn't come out of the box, but based on the results I got, I'm probably going to stick to my computer out anyways. So enough said. Time to get this this tour started. I'm going to be shipping out here shortly to our first reviewer, and I'm excited to hear what you guys think. So there we have it. Another tour being launched. This is Barrett signing out.